Welcome back. This is News Extra. Now, as you saw earlier in the programme, we are at Thursford, where they're celebrating their 40th anniversary of the Thursford Christmas Spectacular. And, well, there's only one way to do that, by speaking to the man who started it all, the director, producer, Mr. Thursford Spectacular, I suppose, to give you your full title, John Cushing. Good evening.
Good evening.
Now, let's take it back to 1977. It started in this room.
Yes.
What was this room like then?
Well, really a barn. I mean, my father built a building for his steam engine organ collection. It was never really intended to be a theatre, and it isn't now, as you see. But we've sort of turned it into a grotto and made it sort of quite magical, but very sparse. One light on the choir, and a small platform to raise the choir up above the seats. About 450 people turned up. It was an afternoon performance. Nothing special, but it went down well.
Because why did you decide to put it on back then?
Well, just to boost the numbers for the year. Tourist attractions, as now, you know, they're very popular in the summer, but then people go home. Wintertime isn't a popular time for tourist attractions, so I thought I'd do a carol concert. And I've always loved Christmas. I've always enjoyed it. I've always listened to King's College Christmas Eve 3 o'clock programme, and it was just the love of Christmas. I love choirs. I love the feel of Christmas. Always have done, really.
So was it meant to be a one-off, or was it something you thought that would run and run?
Well, yes, just a one-off, really. I mean, I did feel afterwards that I could have done better, you know, when it was over. And consequently, the next year I engaged a school choir with the King's College Choral Scholars, and that went down well. We had 2 performances the second year, and then went from 2 to 4 to 8 and 16 and so on. And it expanded basically on a carol concert. It wasn't a spectacular show like you see now. And it's evolved, you know, through the years.
So at what point did you think we're onto something enormous here? Because as I said earlier, more people come here at Christmas than go to Glastonbury in the summer,
yes.
just to put it into context.
I don't think I ever thought like that. Just the performances kept increasing, so I kept trying to make it better. And of course we were all amateurs. All the cast was amateurs for the first 4 or 5 years, but as the performers got more, they couldn't cope. And so we had to turn professional. And when we turned professional, that brought in a whole new set of rules, really, you know, higher prices. We had to charge higher prices for seats, and audition. My casting director at that time was auditioning in Cambridge because it was still a carol concert. So we were getting really good singers, but it wasn't a musical theatre show as it is now. It was still very much a carol concert. And then I thought, well, I'll introduce some other things in to make it, because we were getting earlier and earlier. We're coming into November, and I thought to sing carols and things that was sort of the 10th of November didn't quite seem right. So we introduced other pieces of music, really. It went like that.
So when did it go from the carol concert into the spectacular it is now? At what point did it evolve through into
Well,
that?
I think sort of about 14 years ago it started in this format, and progressively it's become more of a Christmas show. And I mean, this year there's 40% of the music is not Christmas, basically, but it could gel with Christmas easily, just for variety, really.
And when it comes to actually keeping the standard at the level it is, we've just seen one of the dress rehearsals.
Yes.
The standard is
Yes.
it is very high. How do you keep that standard so high?
Well, a lot of money. We cast it in London. I have a casting director for the singing, and that in itself involves advertising. About 1,300 singers applied for singing jobs, and then we hire studios for 7 weekends, and we auditioned about 360 singers. That's all a huge expense, and the dancing was an open audition. Nearly 500 girls turned up for open auditions for dancing. Again, hire studios, and it's a big job. But because so many people turn up, you have a good pick, and just imagine a dancer turning up and dancing for 2 days and then is told at 4 o'clock in the afternoon on the second day, sorry, you haven't got the job because someone else is better. We actually recruited 23 dancers this year and about 500 people applied. So that, you know, the audience is seeing some of the best dancers and singers and musicians in the country here because of that.
Because you have, what, 50 coach loads of people turning up each day for this and for the whole Christmas experience.
Yes.
Does it ever shock you, the numbers that people who come back year after
year?
year?
I have to pinch myself when I go up there and look at where the coaches come from. And indeed, when the tickets are going out in the evenings, I look at all the envelopes, and there's so many places in England I don't even recognise, didn't even know the places existed. But yes, I mean, from every corner of England, Scotland and Wales. Really, not the Highlands of Scotland, and there's 2 counties in Wales that we don't get anyone. And I looked up where they were, and they were sort of really were sheep farms, you know. So don't get anyone from there. But yeah, I mean, I do feel very humbled by where people are prepared to come from Bristol, Swansea, Liverpool, Blackpool, Newcastle, all north. Devon, Cornwall, all south, you know, every day.
But when it comes to the feedback you get from people who maybe have come for 5, 10, 15, 20 years or so, how does that make you feel personally when you get that kind of feedback?
Well, I feel good. I mean, it's like a drug, you know. It's fantastic, yeah. And but if you've just seen, we do put a lot of money into it. I mean, there's costumes this year are spectacular. I always think that, you know, we could make higher profits on it, because I've never had arts funding. I've never had any help from the Arts Council or any of those sort of things. But I always think when we're doing a scene, I mean, for instance, the bear scene, that's about 36,000 just for less than 4 minutes. But I do those spectacular things because I think these people are travelling 7 or 8 hours on a coach or travelling from abroad, really. You've got to give them something spectacular. And this isn't a theatre, you know, it's never, as I said earlier, it never was designed as a theatre. It was designed just as a building to house my late father's collection of steam engines and organs. So, but they do get this wonderful 3-dimensional views across the auditorium. You know, it sort of has a weird uniqueness, if you understand what I mean. It's sort of, people say, oh, you never alter it, don't change it into a theatre, because it won't have this uniqueness as you see now.
But 40 years down, where does it go from here? How do you make it bigger?
Well, I just keep trying to keep the standards up, really. I mean, 40 years is, as you know, quite a long time to survive in anything. And I suppose we've survived because of the money I'm prepared to put into the productions and the perfection, as you've seen today. You know, we run things over and over again. That's our first live audience this afternoon. Sorry, we've got that this morning. This afternoon we've got another, we've got the Village in, then tomorrow is the final one. And to go to that first performance, the full house, and waiting for the applause of all the different scenes that we've done, it's just, you know, it's just very emotional.
Well, congratulations on your 40 years and many years to come.
Oh,
John Cushing, thank you very much indeed. And that is all the time we have for News Extra for tonight. As ever, you can join the conversation on Twitter. We are at MustardTV. The hashtag is News Extra. As you can hear, they're still finishing off their rehearsals. But thanks for joining us. Good night.